hard. You show up every day, you do what's expected of you. But deep down, you know the truth. One paycheck shouldn't decide how your life turns out. But what if your evenings meant progress? What if your weekends built freedom? What if your laptop became more than just a screen? This isn't about quitting your job. It's about giving yourself options. While others scroll, you start building. Quietly, consistently, and on your own terms. No pressure, no guessing. Just a clear system you can run after work, before work, or whenever life gives you a turn. That's what Goldmine on hustlesafrica.com is for.
Tuesday.
Haikuzo makasi ni watafute uongozi pamoja wasitafute.
Kweli una maana gani? Una maana wewe ni binadamu ya mavi ya kuku.
Mashamba yetu harambe.
Nguruwe kujikanga na mafuta yake, na Afrika itakwisha.
Padani agosho ngai no mwega naende shode.
Wakati hiyo ilikuwa ukisema ngwe ndani ngwe.
Ichung'wa went ahead to tell the government officials that they have bought a house in Karen for Mr. Ethokon at 80 million. Ethokon did not have a house in Nairobi, he was living in Turkana. I want to challenge the chairman of IEBC to confirm whether he has moved to Karen and how did he purchase this house. He has been in office for a year. His income is not sufficient to buy a house for 80 million. Is it true what Ichung'wa is saying, that the government has bought you a house in Karen so that you can bangle the 2027 general election? And Ichung'wa told the officers that they have instructed Ethokon to make sure that the UDA candidate is announced the winner, even if he loses, even if people die. I want to challenge Ethokon. When did you move to Karen? You came from Turkana. You came to my neighborhood at a house of 80 million. Where did you get the money to buy a house for 80 million? It must be what Ichung'wa is saying, that they bought you the house and you do what they want. Mwangi Kujori has been calling the presiding officers and threatening them, offering them money to bangle the election. And those who refuse, he is intimidating them.
That the presidential election held on 8th August 2017 was not conducted in accordance with the Constitution and the applicable law, rendering the declared results invalid, null, and void. Number 2, a declaration is hereby issued that the third respondent was not validly declared as the president-elect, and that the declaration is invalid, null, and void. Third, an order is hereby issued directing the first respondent to organize and conduct a fresh presidential election in strict conformity with the Constitution and the applicable election laws within 60 days of the determination under Article 143 of the Constitution. Regarding costs,
All right, hello there, people of the internet. My name is Duotegero, and this is Political Headache coming to you at 7:30. I'm in the studio with latecomers. This guy has come late. I am here with somebody who doesn't have a mic yet, Mr. Mokaya. We will be giving him a mic later on. Have you gotten something to fix it? Come and fix it. Come and fix it. And then we have this gentleman has been here 2 days straight. Mr. Mulamba James, correct?
The young version of Kalembe Ndile.
The young version of Kalemendile.
No, that's
Why do you call him Kalemendile?
That's slanderous. I wouldn't have that.
That is slanderous.
It is.
But let me ask, what is wrong with being Kalembendile?
What is wrong with being Kalemendile, brother?
What is right with being Kalembendile?
You are the one who is refusing.
Refusing to be referred to.
Yes.
Mention anything positive you would associate with Kalembendile.
You know, we have had people struggle with swearing themselves in at the level of a deputy president. It's not a bad thing.
Songesha karibu.
It's like being compared with Mother Karua.
No. I think the worst example is Mulu Mutisia, but...
Mulu Mutisia did not know how to read and write.
Yes.
But he was a good leader, was he not?
Yeah, he was. He was a good leader.
Everywhere except in his head.
Except?
In his head.
In his head. Why are people throwing bad words today? What is the problem? Mr. Mulamba.
I think it would be befitting to refer to me as the Kenyan version of Barack Obama.
You are the Kenyan version of Barack Obama?
Yes.
Wewe bora unatupigia kelele na hizo vitu, tafadhali wachana nazo hapo. You don't think that this guy can be a Barack Obama?
Barack Obama was born away from his own country. This one was born here.
No, the similarity doesn't have to be tied to where you were born.
It doesn't have a deep
and it doesn't have to be about who was your father or mother. It has to be about is the political trajectory the same?
Is it the same?
It is going to be the same.
It is not. So
we all had A's in class 1. Then we started reducing.
I don't know about you guys, but I did not want to be a pilot.
You didn't want to be a pilot?
I take offense with you know, trying to dim his light. What is the problem?
No. You see, when you have a torch and you want to know how bright it is, you look for darkness.
Okay.
So I'm providing darkness so that he can shine his torch, which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, people of the internet, I want to give this opportunity for Mr. Mulamba. Please tell us, what are you thinking? I hear that we are not going to have any elections in El Kalou. What do you think about that? In under 1 minute, please.
Wait,
what do you think?
They said that?
There is not going to be an election. They said that they might cancel it altogether, or they might decide to postpone it. What do you think about that?
Well, it does catch me by surprise.
It does not catch you by surprise.
It catches me by surprise. As for the preparedness, I think IBC is ready enough to conduct that election. I think the candidates have taken their time to market themselves to the citizens of El Kalou. I don't see any reason to cancel this election. That doesn't mean there aren't glaring irregularities. I think the IEBC should drain on voter bribery, the misuse of state resources, and the spending caps for parliamentary seats. But I don't think they need to postpone that election. But I wouldn't be surprised. After all, there has been talk about suspending the general election in 2027.
All right.
And if we are ruminating.
Why would we suspend the election in 2027?
Musalia Mudavadi said we should suspend the election because we did not delimit our boundaries, our constitutional boundaries, which form the basis for the basic electoral unit. A part of he tied that with some other reasons that don't make sense, but that was the bone of contention, and we've not solved the delimitation of boundaries question, by the way. So it's a possibility, and one that I'm not welcome to.
Okay. Interesting. Mr. Joaquim,
yes.
What is going on? Since Jimmy Wanjigi went to Wamunyoro, you know, Wamunyoro started talking about people having no business going to Mount Kenya, such as Mr. Sifuna. What is going on? Finally, there is a pact between Jimmy Wanjigi.
So how is he?
But it's only happening once. This is all happening after Jimmy Wanjigi visited Wamunyoro.
I think we are over.
And you seem to be so clever in recent days. What do you know? What do you know about?
But anybody who says I'm not clever is actually not clever.
Okay.
But I am saying I do not see any linked dots between the visit of my party leader and the recent utterances from the former deputy president.
Okay.
But I think this is I think people are trying to be territorial. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But the things I'm witnessing, it's about it's a battle for the soul of Mount Kenya.
Okay.
And the president has sent there all his government. Gachagua is doing the same with everything. And my friends from Linda Mwananchi were also trying to have a bite of the flesh.
Okay.
So just like how do we call it? In biology, we studied something called natural selection in action.
Okay.
Where it's only the strong ones that survive. So it is in play in Mount Kenya. And all Kalou is, the president wants to paint a picture that I can still win in Mount Kenya despite the perceived animosity to my party. That's an area where Methu comes from. You remember the body of Kiaraho, where Methu told the president, I respect you, but I do not fear you. So I think the president wants to tell Methu that you have to fear me because he wants to win. And Gachagua knows that if I lose the Mount Kenya or Kalou by-election, it will have a big dent on my image as a big boy in this estate. So it's an all very high stakes thing. That's why you've seen what you've seen today.
Okay.
As from IEBC to threaten that they want to call it off, I think that's a bluff. Why not call it off? Why threaten? If you want to do something, you just do it and give us reasons as why you want to do it.
Yeah.
Because if it's about voter bribery, it's glaringly visible. If it's about attempts of influencing the voters' decision, we can see it.
Okay.
And we can see what's happening even if we are not IEBC people.
All right. I want to go to Mokaya. I would like that camera to be on that gentleman. This is my camera over here to be on that gentleman as I speak with Mokaya, because I don't want you guys to turn this camera over there. This one is better suited for him. All right. So that's what we do. Mr. Mokaya, you know, I don't know where you lean. It seems like everybody who is in politics is these days we have got very few fence sitters. Yeah, and I don't know whether you're a fence sitter or you support the presidency of His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, but I think these guys are speaking from both points of their mouths when they talk, because Gachagua is saying that the president has brought goons to all Kalou and everybody is being hurt and beaten, but he's also saying that the IEBC cannot actually stop the elections because there is no problem. There have been a few skirmishes here and there, such as Mushina's Kibango being brought down and a few others, but everything is okay. So I don't understand. What is your understanding of everything that is going on in Ol Kalou today?
Politics is modern day war. It's not romance. People are fighting to control resources.
Okay.
And everybody will want to be popular, if not stronger than the other. So if you expect to be massaged in the grounds of politics, you're in the wrong place. You should go and find an interview where you wear suits and answer questions, and then wait to be selected. But politics, you have to either outmaster your opponent, beat your opponent, arrange that he is beaten, because there are chances you will be. It will be little.
When you say beating, you mean goons?
No, figuratively. make him feel like he is about to suffer.
All right.
But again, before you ask, we see the crow has gotten a lot of bad press.
Okay.
That he's always taking the chicken's children.
Okay.
But we should also ask the chicken, if you stayed where the farmer placed you, your chicken could not have been taken.
All right.
So even Satan should have his side of the story. So there is no war without response. Otherwise that's a beating. And it's in the form, it's in the culture of people out of government to keep complaining, even when they are the ones who are causing things to happen. You know, the proverbial woman who beats her husband while screaming. People will think it's the husband who's beating the woman, but it's the husband who's being beaten, but he can't scream as loud. So really, it can't be that all the ills that are happening in Ol Kalou are being meted on the opposition by government. You can't tell me that those people appearing in rallies with T-shirts would suddenly are green are not organized from somewhere.
Yeah.
The careless utterances by leaders from that faction saying that people out of this place should not come to do anything here are not love messages. The utterance by Gachagua today saying we don't need support from outside, those are not love letters. Those are divisive, careless statements. So while we say that some people are doing what they are doing, we should start by recognizing what are we doing. And on the IEBC, I think IEBC is just pretentious. Kalou is not the murkiest of by-elections we have seen. We have seen aspirants being beaten silly. They didn't cancel elections. In Western Kenya, it was violence was the order of the day, but Ethicon was not seen. I think there were no cameras then. They were just got invented after Kalou. So we need some kind of honesty. But I think maybe it's him trying to look like he can handle a general election because in Kalou, that's not a by-election.
Your government has taken 7 ministers there, and even those that unfilled MPs with
20
rights.
MPs.
Yeah, 20
Am I the
MPs.
only Kenyan here? Who's government? It's the government of Kenya. You know, we should own up this thing.
Okay.
Be specific. Kenya Kwanza, UDA. Be specific.
This is what I'm saying. That, you know, when COVID was here, all diseases, all comorbidities stopped killing people, and it was COVID to do the show. Everybody was dying that time, was dying of COVID. So, and in this Kalou thing, you want to say that government has stopped working because Kalou is having a by-election.
Are you saying that that the government has not taken 20 MPs there and 7 ministers? Is that what you're saying?
But you see, you can't cordon off government. The speaker is the speaker of the National Assembly.
Okay.
He can take the National Assembly where Kenya is.
Okay.
It's still in Kenya.
In this case,
taxes are paid all over this country.
Jagero, we need to correct that.
Okay.
The speakers of the National Assembly and the Senate are supposed to be impartial. What is impartial about campaigning or perceived campaigning for a certain candidate, especially if that candidate happens to belong to a certain political
party? Yeah, but he was
party?
giving an intro. I
was just questioning that line of thought.
This government will go home in 2027 if it has to.
Okay.
So it can't stop working because there is a by-election. Kalou happens to be in Kenya.
Okay.
Those people pay taxes. If somehow a road is
the last time I checked, there were 22 in government, so 7 in Kalou alone.
No, I'm saying
that's a third.
Taking development to an area in Kenya is part of what government does. Why didn't we say that? Why is the Thika Road facing central Kenya when Kenya has other roads to do? Why is the other dual carriage road starting from Thika Road to Nyeri?
I want to. Do you want to allow me to welcome Mr. Meshak?
Please, Meshak.
Mr. Meshak, you are fresh from the United States, you know, and I hope that you brought us some dollars. It looks like you're doing well. Now, what is going on? As somebody who knows about politics, what is going on? We have IEBC threatening to cancel the election altogether or postpone it. We have Gachagua telling Linda Wananchi that you don't need to come here because we can fight this war on our own. What is going on? And the people, we don't know what is going on. The entire government is there in Kalou. Tell me, what is going on?
These are my thoughts around this whole thing about Kalou. One, IEBC, I watched Commissioner Lutalala on one of the media houses in the country. And I think the law requires that if a member of parliament dies in office, within 90 days, there shall be a by-election in that constituency. That has not been changed. So it is not really important if the IEBC commissioners feel like the place is murky. I don't think the law would allow any of them to postpone the election because 90 days are known from when the Speaker of the House declared the position vacant and when the 90 days are ending. That is one. Number two, like Mukaya has mentioned, I don't think there is enough reason to threaten to move the by-election to another date because we are talking about government taking gas cylinders there, the poles are being erected for electricity. Is that something that will require a commission to move election? And again, the violence is not at its peak like we've seen in other places. Of course, we've seen a few here and there. That is on the part of IEBC. On the part of the DCP party leader, regarding Ashago, I think he is desperate to prove some point, because you remember the by-elections have been done in this country are now almost 7 for constituencies. Since Kasipul, Malava, Kilifi, Murua Dikir, Mere, and now we are having the Kalou. You know, all of them have been won by the broad-based arrangement team, and DCP, among others in the United Opposition, have had candidates in those other by-elections. But we remember when the by-election of Mere was happening, Rigathi had to stop his visit in the US and run back, claiming that I have to cut short because I'm going for that by-election. Then he ended up losing that by-election. And then he had a way of pushing that loss, because we say success has got a million fathers and failure is always an orphan. So he had a way of pushing that loss to Muturi and say, we gave that merit to the candidate of DP. And so DCP was just supporting, among other parties, that is here. But now it is DCP that has the candidate. So if there is any form of loss in this by-election, it means the President, William Ruto, is still having more power in Mount Kenya than you. And if you want to know, this usually shapes the opinion of a region, go back to the day when Kawajiku was elected. William Ruto was more of a wayward deputy president and was campaigning for this Kawajiku. I think Kawajiku was their first member of parliament. The Chungwas and the team of Murima, the so-called Tangatanga at that time. And when they won, it gave the Murima confidence that Murima has gone. They are wamewachana na uhuru, they are gone. And that is what we saw exactly in 2022. They were actually gone. We couldn't, even when Uhuru went to speak.
I think there's a problem with your mic. So
okay.
it is low. People are hearing you, but they are saying that you're kuchini kabisa. So I want to leave you there as they sort out your mic, so that I come back to Mr. Mulama. I want to come back to Mr. Mulama. Mr. Mulama, there has been a problem with the IEBC for a long time. I don't know whether Mr. Mokai will agree. I don't know whether Joachim will agree. All right? Because since, I don't know, Joachim, you remember where you were telling me that you're going to start from?
Yeah.
Where is that you wanted to start from?
Electoral problems did not start yesterday. And then the political class have always felt like the people in the ruling class have always had an unfair advantage. And you remember, after repealing of Section 2A in 1992 to give way for multi-party democracy in Kenya, now Kenyans wanted to have electoral reforms. And that's where something was formed called Muungano wa Mageuzi, saying that no reforms, no election. They wanted reforms where they wanted to take away the power from the president to on deciding who is the referee of an election, for the sake of fairness, that we need to have a level playing field. So, and that Muungano Mageuzi was led by the erstwhile Jimmy James Orengo. It was having people like Arab Kirwa and so many others. So the Muungano Mageuzi was about election reforms. how do we constitute an electoral body? Who are the people in charge of constituting that electoral body? And what is the role of the president in that body? Because they felt that the William Ruto of that time, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, was single-handedly running the show. But now there was infiltration. And there were Malwa Kijanas of that time agreed to a dialogue, the IPPG, which the only thing they got from IPPG was a two-term presidential limit. And that did not cure all electoral malpractices, but Kenyans overwhelmingly voted for the opposition candidate in 2002. So there were no glaring malpractices in 2002. So the clamor for change and electoral reforms somehow subsidized. But in the run-up to 2005, when the MOU between Tinga and Mwai Kibaki was disregarded, Tinga pulled his cards against Kibaki, and we had a midterm question in 2005, where now the referendum of new constitution. So we had those ones who wanted a new constitution, wapewe alama ya chungwa. Those ones who didn't want, alama ya ndizi. And out of that, it started creating what we call mistrust in Kibaki's way of running things. It created a basis of political and tribal balkanization, which led to massive loss of life in 2007. So you remember how the electoral body of 2007 carried out things. And there were so many questions that cemented the renewed clamor for electoral reforms again. I remember at that time it was ECK under the late Kivuitu. Then we had something called interim independent. Yes.
IEBC. So we have ECK to 2008.
Yes.
IEBC 2009 to 2011.
Yeah.
Then IEBC, which is starting at 2011 to present.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. But the Supreme Court itself noted in 2025 that the deep-seated trust deficit between voters and the Commission is the product of decades of politicization, not an accident, right?
Yes.
And so I don't know, Mokaya, what, as a lawyer, why is it that we have not gotten this thing correctly? Because there is the legal architecture that is very dense and court-tested. The framework rests on the 2010 Constitution. So we have got Article 81 all the way to 103. The IEBC Act 2011, Elections Act 2011, Election Offences Act 2016, Political Parties Act 2011, and Election Campaign Financing Act 2013, plus landmark Supreme Court jurisprudence, that is Raila 2013, then 2017, and the annulment Raila 2022. As a lawyer, why do you think that we are not getting it wrong? Are we getting it right, but there is politicization of the same thing?
You know, when somebody asks a question and starts as a lawyer, it's like kuambia kama mtu mzima.
Yes.
Like
yes. because it looks like you're the ones who have messed up this thing.
So there is the creation of a delinquent.
Okay.
Starts with the consistent severing of punishment.
Okay.
Like if your child makes noise today, you add one more cane. If they steal again, you add another cane. What you are doing, you are numbing the pain of this child, that whatever more canes you add do not have any effect.
Yeah.
And that if you want to create a delinquent, that is the formula of hardening a criminal. And Kenya, we don't have the shortage of laws. We are just bad people. There are enough laws on anything. Even our elections are the most guarded elections in the world in terms of legal and process sophistication. So we are delinquents. There is no amount of laws that will make us behave better until we choose to behave better. Our elections are polarized because, number one, they are expensive, because of the anticipated corruption. If you want to see how many people vie for seats, you can know that the ultimate job in this country is being elected, so that you get, I don't know, is it raw intelligence or raw money?
Okay.
So our elections are suspicious because it's a very high stake. If you look at the costs of our election, that all printers in this country cannot print a ballot paper. We have to print it in the UK. That there are more than 6 people guarding one ballot paper, looking at it as it's being counted. It will tell you that our trust levels are so low, or our delinquency is so high that we can't trust each other. So no matter how many laws we have on anything, the amount of money we spend on politics, the amount of time and emotions we invest in politics cannot allow us to trust anyone, even if Angel Gabriel himself comes and counts the votes. That's why the rule is simple. The winner celebrates, the loser complains.
Okay.
So for every winner, the IEBC is very fair. For every loser, the IEBC is very unfair. And you'll know you are losing. You'll know somebody who's about to lose an election when they start giving press conferences in some hotels. We'll start knowing these people know they are losing. They are creating a background of acceptance.
Do you really need to attack Gachagua just yet?
But
That's a stray bullet.
I'm just saying, we knew we are losing when we see Baba saying, Atuna imani, IEBC, no reform, no election. You start knowing here it's not going okay.
Yeah.
But again, we'll want to tell Kenyans, or at least be honest, on the anatomy of a rigged election. How impossible it is to rig an election in this country. There are only 2 ways you can rig an election in this country. Voter apathy and spoiled votes. Anything else, it's impossible. And I challenge anyone to walk me through how you can rig an election in this country. Yes.
My friend has to be very careful. He's running for office.
Okay.
He could be the one in the media saying his election was rigged.
Yeah.
And we will pull up this video of him saying that electors cannot be.
Credit to him,
yes.
He's just going to be a victim of whatever he's saying.
And now,
and he's very correct about it.
The proof that actually an election can be rigged is one in 2007,
okay,
and in 2017. In 2007, Kibaki's group did not want to explain how they had won. They were just insisting that they had won.
Correction. 2007, we are still kind of banana republic. Whoever who could be announced the winner was the winner, and there was no way.
2007.
Yes, there was no constitution.
We have never been a banana republic.
The chairman of the IEBC could tell you who won without explanation, and swearing in could happen at night. Let's talk 2010 forward.
No,
because in 2017,
I am surprised that Moka is licensing goonism and abuse of the constitution.
No, we've never been a banana republic.
Why do you say? I didn't hear that. Where are you getting that from?
He's saying it was okay in 2007 to announce someone at night. It was okay in 2007 to announce Kibaki hurriedly. It was okay in 2007 to not substantiate how Kibaki has won. How is that even okay?
Is he really saying that?
That is what he implied. That is what he implied.
In the unfortunate event, I say that. Let's say, if Kivuitu said Kibaki won, what could Raila do? If they swore in Kibaki at night, legally, what was the option? I'm saying it was okay, not because it was accepted. What is permitted is not endorsed. Okay. Permission could be out of desperation and lack of solutions.
Okay.
You can't do that in the 2010 election, in the 2010 constitution, because Maraga has told us you can tell a president, go wherever you want, you are not validly elected.
You see, that's a build-up and improvement of systems from 2007. That in 2007, the reason why we keep mentioning 2007 is because things were not done the right way. That's why we still talk about it. We rarely discuss how the election of 2002 happened. Because nobody complains about 2002 and said Kibaki was sworn in illegally. The process that happened in 2002 was the same process to happen in 2007.
Yeah.
So why do we change things in
Can we
2007?
play that video of Kivuitu saying that I don't know who won? Because I think it is it's a very interesting
That's
video.
why Kivuitu died a miserable death.
You keep saying Kivuitu.
No, let me tell you. After he announced that Kibaki...
Do we have the video? Because they are going to fight.
He died.
Not
he died a tired man.
Okay. Can we listen to Kivuitu dying a miserable death first?
He died a very tired man.
Joseph Ngacha, 21,171. David Ngede, 5,976. Honorable Raila Odinga, 4,352,993. 4,352,993. Rajput Nazlin, 8,624. This means Honorable Moi Kibaki is the winner. The Commission therefore declares Honorable Moi Kibaki as the President of Kenya. When you ask me whether Kibaki won fairly or not, you ask me a very difficult question. Because fairly means all the processes must be right. And I don't know whether they were all right. We cannot forget that there are two contestants mainly. That is Kibaki with his own tribe and Raila with his own tribe. Kalonzo also had his own tribe. So anything with officers working there and agents can have happened. These are areas which can be investigated. They can send fake results. Those we have got to know. But very soon the place was full of fellows in uniforms and what have you. And in any case, my argument is very simple. Until we ensure the Electoral Commission is well balanced, is representative, contains people of high integrity, we are wasting time. So let them disband and they bring. But they should also remember we are Kenyans. When they are disbanding, they are also sending us to exile. And they are also saying this. They were also elected wrongly. So they should also go home.
We should not have by-elections with these crooks in ECK, including Kivuitu. They are the cause of bloodshed in this country.
Najib Balala. Okay, so this is what is going on. And Mr. Mokaya, I think that as lawyers, you guys have really let us down. Okay? Because you did not make enough laws. But I want to go to this gentleman. You want to go first?
No, we could start with him.
I could start with him.
Yes.
Please change his mic. We are having a problem with the DJI, so we have to. I hope you are not removing mine. I hope you are removing one for Joaquin.
Jagero, you're not the first person to think lawyers all lawyers should be killed. Shakespeare was there a very long time ago.
Yeah. Okay, so we have, this gentleman has said that in 2007 or just before that we were Banana Republic.
We were
that's what he said. Is that what he said? That's what he said. But so in 2005, we in July 2005, 2020, we have ECK and the 2005 referendum, correct? Samuel Kivuitu, an advocate and former Parklands MP, had chaired the Electoral Commission of Kenya since his appointment on the 2nd December 1997. And oversaw, yes. You want to say something?
I want to start my recount after you're done.
Yeah, but I'm going to that guy.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to that guy because you're the one who actually gave him the opportunity to talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
Then we have got the 2007 disaster. After the 27th December presidential vote, Kivuitu declared incumbent Moi Kibaki the winner, correct, over Raila Odinga. I want to ask you, Mr. Meshak, what do you think really happened? Because everybody, when you hear people talking now, they keep referring to that time. That if we are not careful, we are going back to 2007. If we are not careful, we are going back to 2000, to what Kivuitu did for us. Because, so first of all, do you think that we have made some steps from 2005. Because then because a lot of people are saying that Kivuitu had undue influence upon himself to declare Kibaki the winner. All right? What makes this other gentleman called Ethekon not have undue influence against him today in 2026?
Thank you, Jagero. I hope now my microphone is okay. I think Kenyans are not honest with themselves.
Okay.
This is what I think. The things that made Kenyans go to war, just one aspect had been dealt with to some extent that gave a lot of faith, and that is 2017. The main reason why we went to war in 2007-2008 was because we didn't have a judiciary that was trusted enough to handle the dispute. Okay. That is because before the Constitution 2010, even the Supreme Court judges, all those were appointees of the president, and he would appoint at will. There was no Judicial Service Commission to even vet anything and see who is fit for where. Okay. So it was all powers in the presidency. So when the Electoral Commission then tampered, or the election generally were tampered with, the majority of Raila's supporters who felt there is no justice here would not accept quickly to go to the court, because even the court you are going to is still president's appointees. So they are not going to give you any form of justice. And that is what the late Raila Amolo Odinga tried to cure in 2013. Even 2013, he had a lot of complaint and evidence, according to him and the team, that they were supposed to take to court. Okay. And you remember he told people, we are not going anywhere, we are going to court. And when he went to court and the court decided on technical ground, you know that case was not, the case of election of 2013 was not tried because the Mutunga Willie thrown it out on technical grounds that some of their evidences were registered late out of the time that the law requires. And that is the whole reason why the case could not go on. But you remember Raila saying, let's stop it from here. And so people started knowing that after election, if it is tampered with, there is one more step you can still have. Then 2017, he was now able to rectify and file everything on time, and lo and behold, Maraga was able to read together with the judges and say this election was not conducted in accordance with the law, and the election was nullified, and the Supreme Court ordered for a new election. That raised a lot of faith in Kenyans. So Kenyans started believing that there is one more step to rescue an election that has been tampered with. But the danger with it, we didn't go into details on not tampering with election. So I am not fully, I think somebody said that, I think Mokaya said that this time it is not possible to tamper with election. It is still very possible to tamper with election. Any election can be tampered with, including the United States election.
There is something that you've said that is very interesting.
Yes.
And that is that then we did not have a lot of faith. There was what we call the trust deficit with the courts, and that is why Raila Odinga, William Ruto, and co decided that we are going to solve this issue on the streets.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
But I don't know whether somebody like Mulamba has the same deficit with Martha Koome right now.
That you remember before the 2010 constitution, it was even hard to get members of parliament going to court after election and winning if you feel like you were denied justice in that election.
Okay.
I don't know who ever went and won and then election was repeated. But after 2010 constitution, you remember we have had a lot of by-election, some of them coming out of court, declaration that this election should be repeated. So while we dealt with that part, the country has tried to cure the issue of tampering with election. But the reason why I'm still saying, Mokaya, that election is still being tampered with, the people who tampered with election, including 2022, after the election, they will tell you, you didn't even have, what do we call them? Agents. Why do somebody say that? The whole Mount Kenya, Raila didn't have agents. You didn't have agents here, you didn't have... That means somebody is telling you there was being tampering on the ground, not at Bomas or elsewhere. But what we are talking about, election cannot be tampered with because election is ending at the polling station. It is tampered with there at the polling station so that when the result is transmitted, nobody can tamper with that result anymore. But when we go to court, we actually try the process from polling station coming to the tallying center. What if, because the people who are easy and quickly telling you that you didn't have agents in such an area, means most likely, what if they just went to the ballot papers and gave each voter 2 ballot papers to vote for the people who are not there?
So you are saying that
that is tampering.
Elections can still be stolen in 20... You mean stealing?
It can still be stolen, but not after the polling station coming this way.
Okay.
Before, at the polling station, it can still be tampered.
I want to go. Can I go to Mr.
I can ask a question, he answers, then you go.
Okay, ask him.
Is that what is giving you confidence that Ruto will win?
This is not the
Has
conversation.
he said that Ruto is going to win?
I have not said that.
I'm wondering why.
Why do you pretend that you don't know what I'm saying?
I mean, he has not said it. Surely.
Let's come back to this conversation.
Joachim is just attacking the president.
Stop this propaganda.
Whatever Gashago is, sorry. Whatever Joachim
Can
is
you imagine somebody is calling you Gashago now because of your...
Whatever Joachim is doing is called because you are bullying him, and he didn't say that. He did not say that on.
Yeah, but we are not privy to it.
But he has not shared his background. So this is
Joachim, tafadhali koma.
Argumentum ad hominem.
Joachim is trying to reveal something.
I am provoking him.
So let's get back. Let's get back to what Mokaya was saying.
Change it for him, please.
Yeah.
Let me go to Mulamba.
I would like to disabuse the narrative that Kenya was helpless.
Can I ask you a favor? How do you pronounce your name? How should I pronounce your name?
James Mulamba.
Mulamba.
Junior. You could just use the moniker Junior.
Junior is perfect. Okay. Go ahead. The question I want to ask you is 2-in-1. What do you think about the elections of 2020? Let's say the elections of 2007, all right, and the elections today. This gentleman is saying that there shouldn't be any deficit. Well, what do you think about that?
I would start by disabusing the narrative that was peddled by Mokaya that Kenya was helpless in 2007 and that we did not have any redress or recourse to election rigging or irregularities.
Okay.
I think we still had a chance to file a petition at the High Court. We didn't have the Supreme Court back then, but the opposition could have filed a case at the High Court. Well, that could be argued that the High Court did not have jurisdiction to listen in or determine a presidential petition, but that was still an option. There was an option for judicial review, and the other option was the formation of a commission of inquiry, which was formed. Let's get to the recounting of our elections from 1992 to today. I think I'll take 2 minutes for this, or a minute. I don't think we've had free and fair elections to this date.
You mean the presidential one or everything?
The presidential one and the rest of them all. But we seem to put or vest a lot of interest on the presidential elections. That doesn't mean that the rest of them, the elections for the gubernatorial seat, the senatorial seat, and the rest are conducted regularly. Not regularly, conducted legally and constitutionally. They have their own flaws. You have cases where the votes for the gubernatorial candidate and the votes for the senatorial candidate do not even match. And they were supposed to have been voted for by the same number of constituents. And getting to 1992, the case for 1992 and 1997 is almost similar. You have a party that does not want to leave power, and they are willing to pursue all tactics, as nefarious as they are, to cling to power. And they decide, well, there are many ways to kill a mouse, or so they say. So they start with voter suppression. You remember the tribal clashes that were fueled so that in areas where the opposition, not the opposition, sorry, the government or the incumbent perceives they will not get some favorable number of votes, they initiate chaos in those regions. You remember the clashes in Molo, and you remember Gachagua was the DO back then.
Yeah.
He's catching a stray here, but I will say it as it is. You also remember the ghost voters. This question of ghost voters has not started today. This question was there in the past. We just didn't know how to refer to these guys. And for some time, I think we didn't even know there exists ghost voters. The question of phantom voters was first raised in 2007. That doesn't mean that did not exist before. We had a voter registry that was non-existent because it was being shaped constantly by the executive and the president who was in power at that particular time. You also remember the term about gerrymandering appearing in the 90s when Moi was arbitrarily deciding what becomes a constituency.
Okay.
And he was awarding constituencies to his strongholds, especially in the central region and in the Rift Valley region, so that he gives himself an advantage, an unfair advantage, because he was the holder of power back then. Coming to 2002, we think that we appear to think that the elections in 2002 were not were free and fair and were not rigged, just because the gap between Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta was so steep. But that does not in any way sanitize those elections. Those elections were as flawed as the elections we've had since 2007. The difference comes in the number of votes the two got. In the 2002 election, there were missing names from the voter register. In the 2002 elections, there were printing mistakes on ballots. There were errors in ballot distribution. Say, for example, this ballot papers were supposed to be taken to Nyeri, and they are taken to Machakos. There were communication failures between the Electoral Commission of Kenya and the polling stations. And there were logistical delays. In some areas, citizens actually voted anywhere around 1 p.m. in the middle of the day. And this was deliberate, so that in the opposition areas, that turnout may not be churned into votes.
Okay.
It may not be harnessed. Coming to 2007, we are fond of referencing 2007 because we are at a consensus. It was probably by far the worst election, but judging by the number of displaced persons, that is 600,000 plus, and the number of deaths and fatalities that were experienced in 2007, that's 1,000 plus people. And I think they are being modest with the numbers. We lost more than 5,000 people in the 2007 tribal clashes. But remember, in the 2007 election, we had already had 3 multi-party elections in 1992, in 1997, 2002, and now 2007. We had already established areas that we would have improved on. We had a benchmark of what went wrong before in the past 3 elections. The ECK chairperson and this entire commission had every opportunity to make 2007 election beautiful, free, fair and credible for the rest of the country. But then how would they do that if the ECK chairperson was already in the pocket of the then president? And that was the problem. See, in Kenya, incumbents don't lose repeat elections. They don't lose their second term. They rig their way into their second term. Moi rigged his way into his second term and third term.
Which year did Moi rig his way in?
In 1992 and 1997.
1992. But Kibaki came from London. Matiba came from London, and Raila's father was standing independently, and Kibaki was standing independently. The rest of the country was with Moi. So how did he rig the elections in 1992?
What happened?
Apart from the politics of what really happened and the splitting of votes, I'm addressing myself to the irregularities and the unconstitutional conduct of the commission back then, influenced by an executive which had overarching powers.
It appears to me that in 1992, Moi could actually have won without having to
Moi won
any
in
votes.
1992 without rigging.
We are confusing strategy to rigging.
Yeah, Moi played dirty cards.
Let's assume he won in 1997.
Yeah. In 1997, the same thing happened.
Let's assume he also won in 1992. But did Kibaki win in 2007?
No. These are two scenarios, and I want us to demarcate these areas. In 1992, Moi played clever tricks on the opposition.
Okay.
He capitalized on their ambition. Every one of them was old, and they want to give it the last stab in their life. Jaramogi could see that if he didn't run in 1992, he will never become president. Matiba was made to believe that he's the most popular person in the country. So he couldn't imagine that he could lose an election. Kibaki felt like he's the most brilliant of them, and he should be the one running the country. I've been a minister for finance. I have presided over setting up of industries in the country. I should be the one running. That is why Moi won with 34%.
It was 36%, yes. But I will get to why I think there was still foul play in 1992. One, Moi used state resources to campaign excessively. Used state resources, like the same thing we see in Kalou today.
But that is very interesting, and I'm going to also ask this gentleman about these state resources that you guys keep talking about.
Oh, I am not done.
I know, but I think that as a conversation we have to talk about these things as they crop up, because the issue of state resources is cropping up. When does, for example, Ruto stop being president?
When he's voted out.
He does not stop.
So then how can he not go around in his own official vehicle?
And again, how do you know that this is state resources and this is not?
I want to ask the lawyer here. When does Ruto cease to be president?
Government is a continuum. Ruto is many things. He is the party leader of UDA.
Okay.
He is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
Until when?
Until somebody else is sworn in. There is no gap. Like, we don't say, so 2026 is gone now, let's rest kidogo so that 2027 starts. The current president leaves office towards and hands it over simultaneously to the next president. You see, there is this confusion that we don't know how to separate. When a rich man's son buys anything, you say anatumia pesa ya baba yake.
Okay.
And that's the joke we extend to anyone in government. If their child eats ice cream, unasema mtoto anakula pesa yetu.
Na sina ukweli.
But he also has a salary.
Yeah.
No, their salary is peanuts.
You see, this is the same joke we extended. Yeah. So
I'm wondering.
This is the same joke we extended, that nobody from Luyaland can qualify for anything because they said hi to Wetangula. You know.
Yeah, you don't. You actually don't.
You see, so. Everybody will use their best to get what they want.
But the question I want to ask you, Mr. Mukaya, because you are the one who is holding fort in as far as law is concerned in this. I don't know whether this guy is a lawyer, but I don't think so. I don't know what Mulamba.
To address that point, you remember that Moi was overusing state media to campaign, given that KBC was the dominant media back then, and was giving unfair coverage to the rest of the opposition.
You are the one who has actually come up with this problem, and we are trying to solve it.
What in influenced a lot in a bit larger extent the election of 1992 is the YK group. That's where the Jirongos come in with the 500.
But that was the militia.
Voter bribery.
You remember that's where
Harassment,
the Jirongos
beatings.
note comes in. Back to you.
Yeah, but I was talking to, I was asking Mokaya. Mokaya, so how does the president campaign without the state resources in the when IEBC rings the bell in around March? Because if he's traveling to where is that place that you said there is no door yesterday? Kavisuli. He's not supposed to go there with the presidential helicopter, with the government helicopter. How about the vehicles? Amma, what is the law trying to say here?
I'll struggle with that question because there is no straight demarcation. Even the IEBC in its statement did not say, they talked about the figures of how much you can or not spend.
Okay.
They did say what you can or not spend. And we should be fair that incumbency has its own advantages.
Okay.
I can't tell my current MP in Bobasi, Mr. Obiri, don't use CDF to campaign. Stop launching classes now, we are campaigning. I want us to be equal. In Berlin Marathon, you can't tell Kipchoge, please use one lung. You are world champion. We want
use one lung.
You won't stop being a champion. We also want to win.
Okay.
So incumbency has its own advantages. Incumbency comes with resources, state machinery, and other tools. If you are not incumbent, then you can use other things like sympathy, crying, and calling yourself hustler.
And security. You will have to have his security 100%.
Yes.
Throughout.
Yes. Also, when you become a presidential candidate, you are accorded security.
Can I help Mokaya with this question?
Yes, please help Mokaya.
Under
But
Kenyan,
you are the one who was going on, by the way.
Yes.
And you are supposed to finish, right?
Yes, I will help him then finish.
Okay.
Under Kenyan law, that is the Election Offences Act, Section 14, the president and other leaders are strictly prohibited from using state resources to campaign. This was trying to cure what happened in 1992 and 1997 and 2007.
This is being cured by which law? The 2010?
The Election Offences Act. But I don't know which year this is supposed to be.
Okay.
Mokaya knows better, I think. Through a major legal exception, except for personal security and transport. That is the only exception to the use of state resources. So the act is specific. You cannot use government promises, state-owned vehicles, or public funds for political
vehicles.
Yes. And
how does the president not use those ones during campaigns?
Let me get to that. Then public funds for political campaigning. Breaking this law carries a fine of 2 million shillings or a 6-year prison sentence. However, the application of this law to a sitting president creates unique challenges. One, their security and transport cannot be put into question. The law recognizes that a sitting president must remain protected and mobile at all times. Therefore, the use of official state security details, presidential vehicles, and military or state aircraft for travel is legally permitted even during campaigns. That is an exception for the presidency.
Okay.
There are little gray areas about the EACC frequently issuing warnings against the misuse of public offices for campaigns and so on and so on. And you remember the advisory that was issued on not appending your names on projects that are financed by using state resources or government resources.
Yes.
Saa hii mimi nikijenga classroom, hata kama ni classroom moja, lazima niandike hapo funded by. Na hizi ukuta zetu za Kenya nipige collabo na Duracot. Ikuje andike hiyo Duracot, yeke logo yake, alafu hapo mbele andike Honorable Junior has financed this project from 2016 to 2015. I think there's an advisory that is trying to demotivate or dissuade our leaders from appending their names to some of these projects. But going forward, you remember, as I was speaking into the 1992 rigging and irregular and in a process that did not have its credibility, an illegitimate election, I addressed myself to the misuse of state resources. Even though we understand the gray areas that, as I have noted here, are a bit of a challenge to actualize. But you remember, back then in 1992, the state was controlling media. And KBC was the biggest media back then. KTN might have been present at that point, but you remember how KBC had a grip over Kenya. All news, advertisements, and every important detail had to first be announced through KBC.
Yeah.
So if you are a president who controls state media, which is still a state resource, you enjoy an unfair advantage over the rest of the candidates, even in your way of campaigning and passing information to the voters.
I want to play the video of Ahmed Issa Kassan, where he's talking about results trickling in, his denial of being bribed, and then there was the issue of Chicken Gate. I think we can also follow that by Wafula Chebukati, where he's saying that it is difficult to guarantee free and fair election in the country. You have those videos so that I want to ask, because even when as they come up with those videos, is that ready? Yeah, let's listen to them, because I want to ask you, even when you talk about the president, then we can also go to the governor, because the governor also has state resources that he will hold on to until the next election. I don't know any other person, because these resources.
Every incumbent has state resources,
and
even an MC.
Pronouncements of law are good, but we must be careful not to read them as passages. We must read them with the enforceability of those laws in mind. When you tell the president that he can use everything save for transport and security, then you realize the biggest budget in any election is exactly those things. So you cannot hive off those two advantages without giving him undue advantage. And at what point do you say, this is now not state resources, you know, and regurgitating what you have done in your incumbency and printing your name?
Yeah.
What really is the difference?
That is problematic, because I said that I'm going to do these things, and when elections approach, I am saying I promised to do these things, and look, I am showing you the things that I did. Perhaps this lawyers wrote us very bad law. I mean,
No, it's not a bad law. you see, the reason why this is a competition is that you come up with ways of defeating the unfair advantage your competitor has. So let me say I'm president today and it's campaign time. How do you tell me that these are official vehicles of government? You are going to Kalou, you must not use them. But the campaign has not taken away the fact that I am still president.
Yes.
So I'm still entitled to these resources. You understand? So it's unfair. And there is no way of dealing with this unfair advantage the incumbent has. That's why the victory of a person who is not in power defeating the incumbent is usually big, because your competitor had a very big unfair advantage about you. So what do you leverage on? The advantage you have as a person outside power at that time is to use the perceived incompetence of the incumbent, his failures, and the human nature of loving the underdog. That's the advantage you have. So everyone is maximizing on what they have. We cannot actually demarcate and say William Ruto uses LX 500 as his official vehicle. Yeah, 600.
LX 600.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
700 if you wish.
Looks like
let's say LX 900.
LX 1000.
Yeah. But you are not going to use that one because this is a campaign. How do you know that it's a campaign? How do you now differentiate when he's launching a road here and when he's campaigning?
Because launching a road might pass
it's
as a
actually
campaign.
a campaign. So how do you go to court and say this was a campaign and this was launching of a road?
But so when I say that these laws were useless, why are you refusing?
I am not refusing. But you see, the people who made these laws were the activists of 1990s.
Okay.
And these
the ones that did not have the money.
Yes.
And the state resources.
They were beaten so much.
Okay.
when they had no power. So when they got into a room to discuss what really should govern the country, they could see themselves in future in these positions. So you must, when you know that I will use that chair, you make sure it has a good pillow because you will sit there.
Yeah.
It is seated at a strategic point and it has advantages. That's why the activists of 1990s became the politicians of today. Out of those activists, the only person who is actually a leader, who emerged as a true leader, is Kivutha Kibwana.
He starts asking you to remove the cap, yes.
Kivutha Kibwana. Kivutha Kibwana is the only person who has been a governor in 2 terms that you can meet on the road just walking by foot and nobody even asks him for 100 shillings. When the MCAs wanted him to do things that he didn't deem right, he said, okay, is that what you want? Sawa. Let us do away with all these things. Kila mtu arudi kwa watu. Wacha to dissolve the county government of Makueni so that we go back to the people and seek fresh mandate. My MCA akasema no, haikuwa ifike hapo.
Haikuwa ifike hapo. Let's play the videos now. Let's play the videos now.
I want to appeal to all political parties and the candidates, especially the presidential candidates, to maintain calm and allow the Commission to announce the results which will be brought by the returning officers at each of the constituencies. What matters here is the final result, and they are coming. We are going to be announcing official results from all the 290 constituencies beginning tomorrow. Announcewa katika kila constituency. I strongly and firmly believe the elections are credible, they were free, and they are fair. And the results we're going to announce here will reflect the will of the people of Kenya.
I do not ask for or receive any bribe from anybody. I have not even mentioned in those correspondence as having asked for or received any bribe.
I shall not go down in history of this country as the national returning officer that plunged the country into a further crisis than I found it. It's already painful for me to be on record as the chairman of the IEBC that presided over a presidential election that was nullified by the Supreme Court. I made several attempts to make critical changes, but all my motions have been defeated by a majority of the commissioners. Under such conditions, it's difficult to guarantee a free, fair, and credible elections. Without critical changes in key secretariat staff, free, fair, and credible elections will surely be compromised. I therefore call on the staff who have been adversely mentioned to step aside to allow this project team to function without interference. The expectations Kenyans have on me are very high, yet I cannot move forward with a divided commission. I cannot move forward when presidential candidates refuse to put their personal interests aside and for once serve the country. I cannot continue to be pushed by majority commissioners to accept legal opinions that serve partisan interests and are not grounded in the Constitution and the law. In the least, I find this as intellectual dishonesty for which my professional training demands that I abhor. I would rather bow out with my name intact and my head lifted high than be part of a process where personal interests dwarf the interests of the nation. I realize that my actions in this noble office will define me for life. My actions will become my legacy and the reference point not only for my life, but that of my family. I'm therefore not ready to sacrifice an eternal legacy for short-term gains.
I know that it's a difficult job, but I believe that with the training that I have had, both not just on elections, but also on conflict prevention, I have a role to play. I can contribute to this. We don't have the time. If we choose that we are going to use another company, then we might as well accept that we are not going to be able to have an election on 26th of October. We reached out to the United Nations Development Fund program, UNDP. They offered to print ballot papers. Both parties said no. So when you are left as a commission, you are presenting such options. Both political parties tell you, no, we are not a banana republic. We will not have UNDP procure from another company. You just have to go with Al-Gurea or not print ballot papers. I've talked with our various returning officers from the constituencies that make up Kisumu County. I have heard the concerns that they have raised. I will take back those concerns, the security concerns, to the commission, so that as a commission we can look and see which is the best way of ensuring that we protect the integrity of the election, but also our staff.
Which one do you want to finish? I want to go to this gentleman. Bro,
yes.
As you can hear, all these guys, I want to come back to this gentleman when to finish. I don't know what is burning, but he will. Mr. Mulamba, I promise you're going to finish. You can see the struggle with Kivuitu.
Yeah.
You can see the struggle with Chebukati. You can see the struggle with Roslyn Akombe. We have not even played the video where the ICT guy is actually murdered.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. What do you think about these issues? What is going on? Because then it looks like it's a poison chalice to every chairman that is trying to, shepherd an election such as big as the one that we are going to be having in 2027.
Yes, Jagero, all that tells how far we are coming as a country to try and cure the electoral malpractices, which some of them are actually with politicians themselves, others are with the commission, and others are actually tampering from the executive point of view. So listening to that, you realize after we tried to bring the judicial system that can cure or save the country from burning, instead people can go to court, which Raila demonstrated very well, and the lawyers in the country have said that Raila developed our jurisprudence as a country more than any other lawyer, and he was not a lawyer in these electoral cycles, and that one is agreeable. So he demonstrated that there is a chance that we don't have to fight after every election. There is a place anybody who is not comfortable with the result can go to and still can get justice. But while that is developing, we were also trying to develop some firewall around the tampering with elections. So we tried to move from the full manual. You remember at some point we had a full manual including the ballot papers coming, the result coming in terms of form, in terms of papers. Then we moved from identification, which was manual, to identification, which is a bit more digital, sometimes the thumbprints, face, and all that. So all these are telling the story of a country trying to seal all loopholes that anybody, meaning, one, we do not trust each other when we go to an election. If Jagero and I are vying for a seat, we do not trust that we can go out, campaign, and whoever the people choose is the person the people want. We still don't trust each other. So this is telling our story on that end. But something we are forgetting in all this, while dealing with this, the issue of resources, the issue of ethnicity is still the main reason why we must seal all that, because I will want my person to be the one on that seat, then I can get the service, because if he comes from your community and not my community, I will be served less than you can be served. Okay. If he comes from your community and not my community, then your community will have more shares than my community in terms of positions even in government. So that is also tied to the elections. So by the time we will have a good election, it's that time when we will feel that if Joachim is in power, the entire Kenya gets service the same way, whether he comes from my community or not. And I think that is part of what President William Ruto has tried to push a little, because it is only in his term that some communities are seeing some things that was never there. I know that one is itching, making...
What is his problem?
I don't know what his problem is.
What have you said that is itching him?
That President William Ruto is trying to reach some communities that were forgotten for the past 50 years.
Like which
for
one?
the past 50 years.
No, like which one?
There are bridges. Let me tell you. Ukisikia that the crocodiles were eating children in Tana River. Do you think there was no government during Kenyatta, during Moi, during Kibaki, during Uhuru that could just do a simple bridge? But that bridge is supposed to cost 150 million. We have had many of those 150 million and nobody cared to actually do it. If it is done today, what we witnessed, what we witnessed...
Even members of parliament from Tana River didn't care.
Just wait. What we witnessed in Northeastern...
Can you have some decorum?
Joachim, what we witnessed in Northeastern, the national government went and did a stadium there. The celebration took place there. Whether that stadium is now, they are now using or not, at least we saw witnesses from that village saying, for the first time we have seen something like this. Was there no Northeastern during Kenyatta's in the 50s, in the 60s, all the way? Why was it to take us 60 years to have a stadium of that nature in Northeastern when the government was always there? That is why I'm saying President William Ruto is trying to push a little, not perfect, but something that many of those presidents...
What is William Ruto pushing in as far as...
Trying to reach out to communities that were forgotten. Every other time we were to have a president, roads were to be built. Then in 2026, you still find a village or a constituency which says, we only have the first 100 or 50 kilometers of road since independence. What does that mean to you, Jagero? What does that mean to you?
No, they have had representation in parliament since independence, right?
We have had
representation from parliament.
Yes.
So what's the essence of having representation in parliament?
The executive does those things.
No.
Members of parliament don't build roads.
I'm just asking.
Can we?
Why don't you want me to ask questions?
No, you are asking me. No, you are asking me something. Wait, Jagero. Let me just get to him the answer. For example, Joachim, we were having the Jaramogi Hospital. It is on record, if you can even Google now, when Governor Nyong'o and the team worked hard to try and get this hospital to help the people in that region. It was not possible, and that paper was on the desk of Njuguna Ndung'u here at the Treasury. It took Mbadi to sign it for Jaramogi to be now referral hospital. We battled with it all the time. There were members of parliament. But when the executive says no, what do you do as a member of parliament? You keep making noise and they do nothing. Some of us who follows Raila Odinga.
He's asking you a question.
He is asking me something he knows, and that is what I am talking about.
But you see, now that is the problem. Joachim is a nuisance, you know.
No, I am okay with that.
I'm asking you.
Yes.
That we did not hear of those people pushing for a referral hospital.
We had. I had.
Yes, you had.
Yes.
Maybe
and the country had. Because by the time, wait, I'm telling you, by the time Mbadi was signing that thing so that Jaramogi can now be level 6, he didn't ask Nyong'o to bring it. It was in the treasury. It was on that desk for 2 good years when Njuguna Ndung'u was CS. And he was aware that that thing is there. He refused. When
there's a question.
When Ndindi Nyoro.
What is your question, Joachim?
What is your question then? If that is not enough. Yeah.
What is your question, Jackie?
You know, he's saying so many things.
Yes.
I think so.
Without disturbing some facts.
Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you.
Yeah.
So, all the members of parliament from, let me say, Nyongo come from Kisumu.
Yes.
So, all these people had concerted efforts to have Jaramogi to be level 6, but it didn't work.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes.
There is none from Kisumu who actually was against it.
No.
So
how would anybody be against?
Why didn't I hear about it?
Well, you didn't want. You only you only hear what you want to hear.
No, that was an emotional story that the body sold to you, Bwana.
No.
This
Okay.
story of being victim, saying, "Oh,
Those-
you are forgotten."
No.
Forgotten how?
No. Wait.
Forgotten
Do you
by
want
who?
to say that what I am saying is emotional story, that the stadium was not done by William Ruto in Northeastern and there was none other than
Why did it have to need William Ruto to build it?
because Uhuru didn't want to, because Kenyatta didn't want to, because Kibaki didn't want to, because Moi didn't want to. Simple.
Let me now give you what really happened.
No, you are not in government, so you don't know what really happened more than we do.
Can we allow him to at
No,
least-
Joachim cannot bully me. Don't worry about that. Because Joachim cannot be in the opposition and in government the same time. Because here you are telling us you are not part of this and you're on the other side, but you want to make people believe that you know what is happening here more than out there. Then you are a mole. Then you are a mole on the other side where you are.
Wait, can you help me, Mukai?
This guy,
Mukai, are you going to help me?
Let me
Yes, let Mukai help me, please. Let Mukai help me.
and he knows more because he's supposed to.
No, listen.
No,
listen, Mukai.
I have not. Wait, Jagero, I have not made anybody believe that I know what is going on in the opposition camp. No, I don't.
Wait,
So when it gets there, you will tell me.
This is a tired cliche that has to be fought from every area.
Time out, Meshach, time out.
Let's agree on one thing.
Okay.
You see, it's wrong when men confuse their sense of self-importance. It's okay when women do, because a woman from a poor family can be married by a king overnight.
Okay.
But there is nothing that can change the reality of a man unless he changes it. So when a member of parliament is elected to parliament, that's the best he can do. And any member of parliament is just one vote on policy. We can agree that we are building 1,000 kilometers of road in this country. But after members of parliament are voted in for that 1,000 kilometer road, it takes the executive to prioritize which road.
Which road?
Some roads can be gazetted today or put in the strategic plan of a country. But if a government does not want to implement them, they'll just remain there. So even if we say, and there's no constituency road, there's no infrastructure, there's no hospital called constituency hospital. So you either have a county road or a national road. So when Joachim tells us that there was no member of parliament to make level 5 hospital or level 6 hospital, that is the lie that we use in campaign, telling people that tutafanya hivi. But you know, the best a member of parliament can do is vote, debate when he's given time, and actually it's even difficult right now to get your time in parliament. Just say what you have to say and vote what you have. But matters of policy, matters of implementation of projects, matters of development takes the will of the government in place, the executive arms of government. So we can be killing people here saying that there were no member of parliament if government does not want to build a road in Bobasi. The best a member of parliament can do is, if he's in the right committee, lobby. And lobbying means trade favors, trade votes, plead with people, and get that things done. So there is an advantage when your member of parliament is in government, because things can move. And that explains why some constituencies have the luxury of cabroing schools, because they have had the advantage of ensuring all social amenities that government can do are done. That there is nothing else to do. Now what we can do is feed children and cabro schools. But I can't cabro schools in Bobasi when government has never built classes. So the intention of the law can be pure. All our laws can point towards all we want to do. But we can't take away the influence of the man manning the purse in development.
Okay.
So tukienda kuomba maendeleo,
Jagero,
we should
can I
go
say
and kuomba
something?
maendeleo.
Yeah,
This is an argument of a lawyer, very typical, about policy, the board, lobbying. That's the language of a lawyer.
Okay.
But this is politics, where you exert pressure, political pressure. You don't go in a room and negotiate because you do not have the gravitas to win in that room. But you have political mileage out there. That's what you use to get development. The reason why I've always been against this line of thought is because we, the people who come from these other sides, have had power to even stop this country from functioning a whole week. And the government coming out and saying, it's because of your actions that the government has lost revenue worth 20 billion in a day. That's power. That you say, we demand ABCD or nothing else will work. You become a hothead. And we have had that quality. God gave us. We don't borrow it. We have it. The reason why the head of executive can prioritize a road in Nyeri and not a road in Bobasi. I was hearing the word Bobasi for the first time from him. Which means the leaders from Bobasi are flaccid leaders. They have not come out to actually take advantage of the power people gave them. My member of parliament in Kandui is a staunch supporter of broad-based. But I have not seen favors in Kandui. It's because this person cannot even force things to happen. The reason why I asked you yesterday that it is hard to even touch macadamia is because the people from that side will come together regardless of their political divide and hold a press conference and say, no, macadamia is not a thing of politics. It's a crop from our region. It has to be protected. They have understood that. This issue of vote and policy, and that is as a result of the pressure out there.
So you're saying that when we are putting sufurias on our head, we better say that we want a road from Kisii to Tinamira.
And it will be done. It will be done. Today, if the people of Bungoma say, listen, we are tired, these roads have to be built, or there will be no trucks on Bukembe, Kandui Road. If they protest that for just one single day, I can tell you the government will have to listen. We know the art of making power shift grounds. It is not about office lobbying. It's about what you can be entrusted by these people out here. So that this lobbying and prioritization is as a result of what you are capable of doing out there. We have this currency, but somehow we don't use it for the benefit of our own people. But in parliament, we are the best people to speak and use very big vocabularies. The other day, Babu Wino said, krinkam krankum.
Higiaga.
That word was first used by Otienda Amor. That when you want to discuss matters health, you have to ask Dr. James Nyika. When you want to discuss about trade international, you have to ask Dr. Moheza Kitui. When you want to ask about maritime law, you have to ask Peter Kalou. When you want to talk about engineering, you have to ask Dr. Shemo Chuotho. But when you ask a road, it is Wamatinga. Because all of a sudden, the executive has forgotten about us. Who do you want to remember you if you do not remember your own people?
Thank you very much. I want to go to Mr.
Yes.
Mulamba.
Jagero, just give me a minute. Just one on this. You see,
just a minute as they put that on.
Yeah, you see where I differ with Joaquin is this.
Why, when it comes to other parts of the country, we are required to go on the street to get the road? Who was on the street to get Thika Road and Mau Mau all the way to Nyeri? Who was on the street? Nobody. Who was on the street to get Moi Referral Hospital in Eldoret? No one. Which member of parliament was on the street? But why, when it comes to some of our areas, then we are required, according to Joachim, to be on the street?
I think that you and Joachim are saying the same thing, sort of, because
no, Joachim is trying to say that we should actually make the country stop so that we can get the roads.
But essentially, yes, because
but that is what Ruto has cured.
No,
right now the market in my village, my member of parliament didn't go to the road.
Market to sell what?
To sell produces from what do you think? Why do you mean?
I am asking you. When you want to help Mama Mboga,
are there no men in Lake Victoria anymore? So where are they sold, my friend?
A market building is a devolved function. That is something a governor should do it.
So should we say?
I want him to leave this podcast a better person
that is
than
not
he
a
came.
problem. Devolve or not.
No,
when it has
listen
come
to me.
When it comes,
Your victim mentality will not help.
Before we go to junior, Joachim needs to learn that you catch more flies with honey than droppings.
Yes.
He's busy on populating the ground with droppings like Sonko, instead of just attracting.
What does that mean in English, Mokaya?
So okay, let me be blunt. You can get flies around you with waste.
Okay.
But it's easier with honey.
Can you talk about the president?
You are having a Solilo guy,
this
and
is what I was finishing.
No,
it is
not going to
Can
finish.
we understand what he's saying first?
No, I'm saying
Yes.
you can lobby and get a road. You don't need to throw a tantrum.
No,
is that so?
Negotiation gets things better.
So then why are you agreeing with?
This guy thinks when
who are you agreeing with?
This guy is those lawyers. Sorry for making you a lawyer. It takes 6 years.
I don't want to be a lawyer.
You choose to. There are lawyers who think court solves things. And there are lawyers who think ukona deni yake, akona deni yako, unamlipa aje. You don't have to go to court. So sometimes if you can use the tongue,
Jagero.
you don't
So
have to.
I'm finishing.
It looks like I'm squeezing a rock to.
It's about
Jagero.
Meshach, can you stop, please?
Jagero.
Meshach, please. Joachim,
It
can you shut up?
It looks like I'm squeezing a rock to
Can you
produce
shut
water.
up, Joachim?
Do you know why I'm saying that? I have explained, but these people are not listening.
No.
They are not listening.
Wait, you shut up.
Hey, no.
So,
I have
explained. Come on, Joachim.
Jagero.
You are an adult, please.
We are being adults here.
Okay.
We are being adults.
Can you listen? Can you listen to me?
No.
Yes. I want to ask a question. I think this is
We can
always stray. This gentleman is saying that when Kenyatta was president, all the roads were going to Mount Kenya.
Yes.
When Moi was president, all of them were going to Rift Valley and so on and so forth. Uhuru comes and is building the superhighway, Kibaki, and so on and so forth. Okay, that is what he's saying.
Yes.
He's saying that right now, Ruto is trying to do everything he can so that every part of this country gets a road. Okay, you are saying that once you are in parliament, because Uhuru has refused to build the road, throw a tantrum, if I have to borrow his words.
Yes.
This gentleman is saying that you don't need to throw tantrums, you just need to lobby. So in my estimation, lobbying does not work according to you.
Yes, he's a lawyer and I'm not. So I can't use his formula.
This guy is also saying that you will lobby, or you can go to the streets, they will still not build it.
He chose not to understand me.
What I'm saying
Can I say something before he comes in?
It is not the case.
Just a minute.
Wait.
Just what I'm saying, and he has decided not to understand me.
But he doesn't have to.
Is that when you realize...
Does he have to understand you?
He can choose not to.
Yes.
If you realize that you are disadvantaged in some way.
Okay.
In this case, that there is preference of some areas over where you come from. You need to agree that in this situation, there is unfair treatment. And what do we do to get the same things, even if there is priority for other areas?
Okay.
What do we use? I'm not saying you have to go to the road and throw tantrums. But we have had so huge gains
from throwing tantrums.
Okay.
It's out of throwing tantrums that we got to repeal Section 2A. It's out of throwing tantrums that we got a new constitution. It's out of throwing tantrums that an election was annulled. So we can always get good things out of throwing tantrums,
which is okay. But it's also But it's also saying that once we have a country with one pot, do we need to throw tantrums for us to get help?
Let me give you.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me give you a micro example.
Okay.
You touch fisheries from something close to fish.
Okay.
Today, and tomorrow, all leaders from Nyanza, whether in government or in opposition, are having a joint press statement that decision that was made about fisheries has to be reversed. It will be.
Okay. Can you finish?
Yeah, I'm saying
finish so that we can go to
Joachim,
Mulamba.
it doesn't have to be a case of when you have a hammer in your hand, every problem is a nail. No, it doesn't have to be that. We need to just say there are many other options of trying to do it. And for now, we have a president who lobbying works with. If you try to lobby, it happens, it is done. We had presidents who lobbying were not working, and even throwing tantrums never worked. Because we threw tantrums for 60 years, especially from Luo Nyanza, and it never worked.
It never worked.
And lobbying never worked either. So we have a president now who lobbying works, and probably tantrums might also work. But now we choose the easier one.
Okay.
Lobbying, then let it work without, because now tantrums is a lot of work on us, given that we are tired 50 years we have been on the road.
Okay, we want to go back to Kalou. We want to go to Kalou. I don't know, by the way, at what point we started talking about Ruto, because this gentleman.
This one is the one who started saying we have a president. We have a president.
When we don't have a president.
I think he's a con man. He has conned us into a conversation we were not supposed to be having, right?
He had to show them that he was actually here.
Okay, we want to go to Mulamba, but before we go to Mulamba, I want us to play the Erastus Ethicon video, where he's saying that that they might postpone the election. Can you play that for us, please?
Microphones. Okay, you hold from here. Yes. Okay. I, Erastus Edung Ethicon, having been appointed the chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, do solemnly swear that I will at all times obey, respect, uphold the Constitution of Kenya and all other laws of the Republic, that I will faithfully and fully, impartially, and to the best of my ability discharge the trust and perform the functions and exercise the powers devolving upon me by virtue of this appointment, without fear, favor, bias, affection, ill will, or prejudice. So help me God. Daytime, the place is peaceful. At night, madness descends. And on 1st July, sadly, such a confrontation late in the night resulted in the death of one person. Also been alerted of the presence of state officials in Kalou, which is not a problem as long as they are doing their ordinary duties. But where they are there to interfere, that is also very unfortunate. The proper remedies shall apply, and up to, including disqualifying some of those candidates. These small incidences are a precursor of what is likely to happen in 2027. And we cannot allow that. If we find that the environment is not conducive enough for us to conclude the by-election in Kalou, we will be left with no choice other than to take the most unfortunate and drastic step of postponing the elections in Kalou. And if that's not enough, we will cancel it altogether. And therefore, I wish to assure Kenyans that their voices will not only be heard, but they will also count during this the coming elections. As we look ahead.
So that is what is going on. We have traveled so far from Kivuitu, and now we are with the person that we thought. I want to start by asking Mr. Mulamba, even as you finish the older point that you are having, that do you think that this gentleman, Mr. Ethekon, is different from Kivuitu? Do you think in attitude and in character and in his ability to repel any government official or any party that might want to interfere with the elections is better than Kivuitu, is better than Chebukati, better than Isaka-san? Where do you place him? And on top of that, what do you think about the utterances that is just said on that video?
I think I will start by a proverb.
Yeah.
That has been shared before, that a sheep could walk amongst wolves, but one day it will back. Most of these chairpersons for the electoral commissions come off as good. They start just as fine. Kivuitu delivered a credible 2005 referendum. Some people say he delivered the 1997 and 2002 elections credibly, even though I've questioned that. It just appears there just isn't enough time for me to go through the elections, because if you'd ask me, we've not had a free and fair election from 1992 to this very date. But in the beginning, these guys appear credible until when you trust them with an actual election, a general election, not these by-elections. Isaac Hassan delivered a credible or widely accepted as credible 2010 referendum, just before he delivered the 2013 election, which was marred by irregularities, and that commission was forced into resignation in 2016. They didn't even get time to conduct the 2017 election. No one was ready to have them as a sitting commission. So I see the same in Erastus Ethekon, not because as a character and as his personality, not that is in question, but whoever is influencing the commission to deliver the election to a skewed, in a skewed way. Whoever is pulling the strings on the commission generally dictates how that election will be delivered. Whether you are a saint or an angel, as long as the executive is pulling the strings and it has unfair control on the commission, as it is right now, then even if you are an angel, you will still not deliver a credible election. Personally, Erastus Ethekon may be Angel Gabriel, but he will not deliver a credible election, not one that cannot be questioned, just because there is someone sitting somewhere who does not want him to deliver a free and fair election, because if he does, and when he does, that particular incumbent is not going to win a second term. That's exactly the problem. Hata tukikuweka wewe, but you have someone who sits outside here, who is the puppet master, who wants to control the election just so that they get to a second term. You will be in a very difficult position. They will do what they will replicate something as close to what they did with Chris Musando, or they will incite the commission to split in half, like we saw with the Cherera 4, or they will come at you with intimidation, harassment, and threats. And from where I sit, I think that is the optionalities that the current chairperson is being served with. You either comply or mambo ni matatu. Because you cannot explain to me that this current chairperson does not see any reason to disqualify the UDA candidate. You cannot explain to me that this current chairperson now appears to sanction the irregularities happening in Kalou, but he is not disciplining those candidates and their perceived enablers for going above the threshold for spending for parliamentary seats, for voter bribery, which is apparent. You remember the distribution of the hose pipes, the gas cylinders, the GOK branded mattresses, the 2 boats, and so on, and the transformers that were actually installed at night. If this chairperson is supposed to inspire confidence in the public, he needs to show us that he can disqualify a candidate who has the backing of government. He needs to show us that he can discipline a candidate who has the backing of the incumbent if it is apparent that the incumbent is misusing state resources, overreaching, bribing voters, and manipulating the election process just before we cast the vote. Not making vain pronouncements and futile attempts to appear to want to cancel the election or postpone it. I mean, why would you want to postpone an election just because someone is bribing voters? How about you arrest whoever is bribing the voters? Because they dish out this money in the glare of public cameras and in the presence of for the state and the citizens themselves, and these videos have been circulated everywhere. Ni kama kusema you guys have not seen what Zaia Janda was doing at Keumbu with weaponizing politics and paying goons to attack the convoy. And we have seen Zaia Janda before distributing cash to his residents and forcing them to queue for 1,000 shillings, as little as 1,000 shillings or 2,000 shillings. And IEBC knows these characters. They have evidence to prosecute these characters or to discipline them, and they are perceived enablers. But they are not interested in doing that. If the chairperson of IEBC wants to inspire confidence in the Kenyan people, he first must start by disciplining Muchina Nyaga, the candidate for UDA, and he has to be firm on that. Otherwise, you will not convince me as a voter to have confidence that this same commission will deliver a credible election in 2027. What then happens if the government of the day oversteps, bribes voters, suppresses voters, and breaks every election law prior to 2027? Who is supposed to rein in on them if the commission that is mandated with the task of overseeing credible and free and fair elections appears to be in the pockets of the incumbent, and it does not see or hear any evil when the incumbent government is concerned?
But I want to ask you a question, because you've spoken about two things that are contradicting each other. You start by saying that this gentleman, Mr. Ethekon, is obviously afraid of intimidation, and he knows that wherever he's seated, anything can happen to him. You've talked about Mambo ni Matatu, which is basically a veiled threat that we are going to do away with you, like we did away with Musando. All right? But then you come again and saying that they ought to do what they ought to do. So why do you think that Mr. Ethekon decided to sit on that seat that Chebukati could not sit on properly? He had to sit at the edge of it. We have the other person, that is Isaka-san, could only afford to sit at the edge of that seat. We have Chebukati, who could only sit at the edge of that. We have got the other one that So then, what do you want? Why do you think Ethekon decided to take that position, knowing very well, according to you, that it is going to be Mambo ni Matatu? So he was looking for a job. What was he doing there?
Before I get to Ethekon, I do not even see any reason. I did not see any reason for William Ruto's presidential ambition in 2022. As a Kenyan citizen, in 2022, I wouldn't even want to be president. This country was in the ditches. It was in the trenches. I did not understand the obsession to want to be president in 2022, coming off from someone who is not even an economist, and someone who has not even managed and run any government to success. Anyway, I see the same thing with the chairperson of IEBC. As a Kenyan citizen, I wouldn't even want to be the chairperson of IEBC. It is a very tricky situation to be in.
So then that is very defeatist.
It is a very tricky situation to be in, given the background.
Because then what do we do? Because
given the background
we all say that we are not going to do anything, then to whom do we leave the
Given the background I have painted,
yeah.
Would you want to be the chairperson of IEBC?
I don't.
Given that you will be a puppet of the executive, I don't understand the motivation for Erastus Ethekon to want to be the chairperson of IEBC. Let's say he has his own.
How much money is put on his table?
Probably apart from the salary.
No, the entire amount.
Pesa yenye inaingizwa kwa chini ya meza ni mingi.
No. The one that is given by the exchequer, how much?
The budget.
Yes.
The budget, they were asking for a budget of around 63 billion shillings.
63 billion.
Yes.
That's what is going for?
I wouldn't want to slander him on that. I would say
because we have looked at all the reasons.
let's say that money, because we understand that money must be accounted for, and an audit will be carried out for that money. Let's say he doesn't want the 63 billion.
Okay.
Which else would be another motivation? Apart from money from the executive and from the incumbent, who does not have a limitation of resources.
Okay.
If you would ask me, what else motivates Erastus at the con? I think it's the money, and probably it's not the 63 billion. Probably there are people who are supposed to give him money chini ya meza, because those things happen. Because I have told you, the chairperson of IEBC is in a very difficult position. You have an opposition who some would claim is toothless, but you have an incumbent who has the power to deal with you in courts. You are in a very difficult position, and going by what has happened to chairpersons before you and the undue pressure that has been exacted on these chairpersons.
Okay, I want to go to Mokaya.
Seeing the pressure that has been exerted on chairpersons before you, would you be confident that you would deliver a free and fair election, given that the executive wants a second term by all means?
It is tough,
including dealing with you.
It's really tough, and I want to ask Mokaya. Mokaya, what is going on there at the IEBC? It looks like it's a very interesting, it's a hot seat, right?
Our biases and our prejudices should not allow us all leaders to blanket everybody to fit into the boxes we have drawn for ourselves. We can't say that 1,848 people were careless with their lives, or at least they were misguided on their ambitions, because those are the people who wished to sit where the commissioners are sitting. So if people go to war and die, it doesn't mean people applying to be soldiers are stupid. So then if you can't, actually it is treasonous for you to be a coward in war. If you are a coward, please let the brave people go and enroll to be members of the KDF. So there are people who love this country enough. There are people who have enough ambition and grit to go where people are running from. And I said here that the commission, at some point we were proposing that the election commission becomes a part-time job. Because the commission as it sits, other than being administrative, there is
Mokaya's mic has a problem?
There is very little other than administrative that you can do, and I want to walk us through. I challenged my fellow panelists here, including the Secretary General of the leaked board.
Of the what?
The leaked board, the leaking board.
The leaking board?
Yes.
The leaking arc?
Yeah, which is going to sing. To tell me how do you rig an election?
They are saying that we can't hear Mokaya.
Yeah.
No, we want to hear from YouTube, not from this thing that you guys are having on the table. It's fine?
Yeah. Okay. Can they say that again?
Maybe the person who has a problem lives in affordable housing.
Now, so I want us to walk through one voter.
People are hearing Mokaya. I don't know why people are.
That's why Leon lives in a.
If you have voted.
Forget about that.
If you have voted in this country, whether you have voted in general elections or KTDA directorship election, you know how voting starts. It starts by marking what is the first serial number on that ballot leaf. Then it ends with marking what is the last serial number on that book. And counting starts by knowing what do we call a spoiled vote. It can be based on the intention of the voter, or any mark outside the ballot box spoils that vote. Once you have agreed on those parameters, then you start counting the votes by tallying, where every agent agrees that the vote being raised is for Mokaya, the other being raised is for Joachim. And after that tally is done, a form is filled and all of you sign because you have seen what happened. And then, if Maina Kiai case is anything to go by, that is the final result. So whatever happens at Bomas of Kenya is a choir singing and PDFs being received. So at what point really do you change the result if there is an advisory of the highest court of the land saying that the last point of counting and declaration of a vote is at a polling station where there are more than 10 people? Unless you say there are extra polling station efforts outside the polling station, outside the ballot paper and outside the ballot box, there is no election that is guarded more than this. On the position of the chair of the IEBC, yes, you can say that you don't have faith in Ethicon, and even you can't believe why he went to look for that position. But the role of IEBC in the presidential election is to say the winner. It's that simple. He can't tamper, he can't stammer, he just says, according to what has been received, this is the winner of this election. So, I've struggled.
They're the ones who have got the server, right?
But you see the server, what does the server give you? The server gives you what should tally with what your individual agent sent you.
The entire infrastructure.
Did they open the servers?
The entire infrastructure is manned and protected by the IEBC. No?
Jagero, I dare say that whatever the server does is to receive results as they have been transmitted from the polling station. Change nothing. So if I say the server is just a communication line,
let me ask him a question. Center. Actually, too, if that if he's painting a picture where the IEBC appears to be a bystander, and they have no control over the resources.
Use the word umpire. It's a more. It sounds better.
I will stick with bystander. Someone who just watches, a spectator. Then explain to me that the same IEBC did not grant permission of access to all servers. Start with that. That has not happened from 2017 to today. Secondly, the same IEBC that controls the printing of ballot papers and Form 34As and Form 34Bs. You want to convince me that that IEBC cannot be misused to overprint ballot papers and Form 34As and Bs. Then my third contestation with the IEBC is on the tallying of results. Remember, that electronic transmission that was aired live on the Bomas of Kenya was shut down 48 hours, I think, before we were announced the final result. If the IEBC's role is merely to be an umpire, as he's saying, why was that live coverage shut down? Then how about the 27 constituencies?
He's going to tell you that it was not shut down by
IEBC. How about the 27 constituencies but IEBC was manning that live coverage? So the media stations did not have anything to cover. Sasa imebaki kazi ni kuonyesha huyu ameinua huyu akainua. That transmission of results, the live coverage was shut down 48 hours before the final announcement was done. Why wouldn't you let it play to the end? If you would ask me from where I sit, I am not sure that the results of 27 constituencies were actually verified, because that was not captured to the tail end. What was the hurry about? Then, if this IEBC or any other IEBC that will come after this one is credible and it does not influence the final result, then how about you let that coverage play to the very end? How about the tallying is projected to the very end? And why then is there a mishap between the results that are aired by KBC, NTV, Citizen, and any other any other mainstream station, including digital media sites, because I know they will be streaming the elections? You would argue and say, KTN wameachwa nyuma kidogo na 100,000 votes kwa sababu hawaja catch up na probably NTV yenye iko mbele. But then at the end of the day, or probably at the end of 6 days, the final result for Raila Odinga, William Ruto, Joaquim, James Mulamba should tally. They should match, and there should be no discrepancy. Unakumbuka Azimio ikisema they had a parallel tallying center. UDA also said they had their own parallel tallying center. Why would these two parallel tallying centers come up with a different result? If the IEBC is merely a spectator and it cannot control what is projected on our screens and what would be the final answer to whoever won the presidency. Mimi hizi vitu kwangu hazijai make sense. I need us to have a live coverage that streams to the end. And I need us to have one final answer, one final resort and verdict for all presidential candidates, because the bulk of our problems zinaanza hapo kwa who has won the presidency. Nataka nione KBC imeonyesha huyu amepata 8 million. And all stations have the same figure. And on the portal, that is the figure. And on the parallel tallying centers, that is the figure. And there is no question about it. That is the only way you can convince Kenyans this was free, fair and credible. And there will be no question to that election. Na mambo ya kura sivyo pata potea inaishia hapo.
Mulamba is making a very big assumption here. A polling station is not a kitchen where only the cooks are allowed. A polling station is a public place where every aspirant from MCA to president is allowed to see everything from the beginning to the end. Printing of ballot papers, polling stations, there's no polling station that consumes all the ballot papers that they came with. They remain because there's no 100% turnout. So if they print excess, whatever that was not used, the serial number is noted and those ballot papers are left as they are. There is no stuffing of boxes because we started at 00. Please. This is scientific. Please don't do that. So if you started at 009 and ended at 0100, those are the only ballot papers we count. There is no ballot paper that comes into that string that is not belonging to that. And let me say this, it's the duty of every candidate to have an agent in each and every polling station, so that those forms, when they are being sent and there is impropriety, when you go to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court can allow you to present whatever forms you have. So any impropriety or any mistake, it means if you are lazy or whoever was to pay agents did not pay and they left at 1, equity does not come to the aid of the indolent. So you don't blame the referee if you didn't score your goals.
Jagero, let me ask Mokaya a question that was asked by the eminent Supreme Court judge
Smokin
Wanjala.
Yes.
So if as a party I do not have the capacity, or so it happens that I do not have agents in every polling station, does that mean that the IEBC cannot deliver a credible election? That is the first question. The second question, how would he as Mokaya know if Form 34As and Form 34Bs were printed in excess? How would he know? You remember the question about some Form 34As filled using pencils. You remember the question about Form 34As that were unsigned. You remember the question about Form 34As that appeared to have been photocopied. You remember the Form 34As that used Book 2. You remember the Form 34As that had so many cancellations. You could not verify that was the final vote. So if I do not have party agents in that particular polling station, you want to tell me that IEBC cannot enact mechanisms on how to guard that vote, that the IEBC cannot have its own agents in that particular polling station? You're painting the picture of where if the IEBC and the incumbent collaborate, in that the IEBC is not independent here, and it is no longer it's no longer a spectator, as he's saying. It is implicit in stealing votes. Then that means that in that particular polling station, the votes will be stolen, and the party agent for the incumbent and the IEBC observer will collaborate to corroborate wrong results, and that will be taken as the final verdict. And as I summarize, I want to ask Mokaya, do you know that somewhere between 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., some of the polling stations are opened at 7 a.m. Some, I have information, are opened before 7 a.m. Do you know that between 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., the first influx of voters, most of them vote twice or thrice. They are given 3 ballot papers. By that time, in most of these polling stations that are in remote areas, therefore the state is not present at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and the general public has not gotten to that polling station. So if I have 100 voters who support me, and I motivate the polling clerks enough and the returning officer to favor me, I can have 100 candidates each vote with 2 or 3 ballot papers before that election actually begins. And as I summarize, do you know that ballot box stuffing is still a thing in this country? That by the time you get to that polling station as Jagero at 8 a.m., if I had collaborated with the polling clerks and the returning officer to have the ballot boxes stuffed, they will be stuffed before you guys get to that line. Na nihakikishe the first 50 people ni wangu. So wanajua your ballot box iko stuffed, but they cannot question. It is something I have evidence against.
Is this something that can happen in Kalou?
It is something that has already happened before, and I have evidence against it as it comes to that answer.
Come to the mic.
So you see, that has happened before. And in most of these times when the returning officers want to testify on most of these things, they go missing. You remember the returning officer for Embakasi East went missing. And so many other returning officers who come out to speak and address most of these irregularities that happened before you guys came to the polling station. So mutasema, this is the final vote. From the ballot boxes we've counted, indo inakal final vote. Na hapo, by that time, you'll have cameras, if you are lucky enough. You'll have party agents from the opposing party, if you are lucky enough. What happens about the polling stations where the opposition does not afford a party agent? Does that mean that the IEBC will collaborate with the incumbent government to steal votes for that particular polling station?
You know, there are many ifs in these stories, and the wicked run even when nobody is chasing them. You know, when you're growing up, in where I come from, tulikuwa tunatishwa na monto you, like mtu ndio huyu, even when there is no person chasing you. The many ifs here, they speak to the trust deficiency we are having as a country. I said here, our ballot boxes, after actually they stopped being black, they are now transparent, and there is a reason. They are transparent jerrycans. Voting does not begin until a polling station is opened. You don't transport ballot boxes with ballot papers. So the ifs we say that some polling stations open at what, so the returning officer and the clerk start voting before everybody else. I think we are creating ghosts for ourselves to motivate our running.
If you want to stick with theory, I will stick with practice. I have seen.
So what I'm saying is, the process of voting is clear, and in those voting sessions that I've participated in, I've not used ifs. I've said this is how you start voting. Stuffing does not happen because the ballot boxes are serialized and we know where we started and where we are ending. If you don't have agents, then that is where you start speculating, because whatever happened in that polling station, nobody had your eyes there. So really, without ifs and without the using of our worst examples as our best expectation, there is hope, and it's possible to have free and fair and credible elections in this country.
Do you believe that the government wants free and fair elections, Mr. Mukaya?
I believe the government wants free and fair elections. And I have always believed that even Moi in 1992 wanted to go home.
1992?
Yes. The people who told Moi that there's something we can do are the Jirongos and the government spokesperson of that time, who asked for a budget and told Moi, sit back, let's make you president.
Joachim.
So it's possible to have free and fair elections in this country.
Okay.
But again, winners celebrate, losers explain. But we don't have to lose an election that has not begun.
Okay. Joachim, as we finish this conversation, it looks like you agree with Mokaya that elections are all right.
No. You see, at some point, you let people wallow in their own imaginations. And today has been... this time has been my time to do that. It's because of elections that we lost Chris Musando. And up to today, we really do not know what really happened. There are so many theories. This is after he spoke on KTN television and said, as long as I'm alive, no one can rig election. That put a target on his back. And he never lived to see the face of his wife. And Moses Kuria was the first person to speak some things. And up to today, even my brother there believes that something terrible happened. But today, the biggest suspect of that thing at that time is now his favorite dancer in the hall.
He actually took a picture with Chris Musando's Land Rover. How did he know where that Land Rover would be and where Chris Musando was at that particular time?
So,
You remember, an election is a process that gives you access to power. And for you to look for power, you must have some element of greed. And having an element of greed will make you think about ways of bypassing measures put in place to make sure that people who qualify are the ones who get into office. There has been a term that has been very famous around elections in this country: accept and move on.
Heal.
The reason why you are told accept and move on is because things that happened were unfair, they were not free, but you have nothing to do about it. So can you just move on? We are living in a country where the Supreme Court judge sat in his chair and said, President Uhuru did not win validly. That the process, the election is not an event, it's a process. By scrutinizing the process, the person who had won elections at that time had done some things that were not procedurally right. That alone makes you know that there is possibility of cooking numbers. So let us not be, and I hope my brother will never go to court to say he's been stolen from. In 1987, Dr. Mukheza Ketui took Muskari Kombo to court, and he won a court case that his elections had been rigged. In 2013, Wetangula and Muskari Kombo took each other to court because of the senatorial seat of Bungoma. These things happen because there is no system in the world that beats human capability of bypassing it. The most dangerous animal in the world is a human being. That when you erect an electric wire, where your brain stops, that's where he starts thinking from. Because you've thought and decided that for me to be safe in this compound, let me erect an electric wire. When an intruder comes, he starts thinking from an electric wire.
Yes.
So he has the chance of thinking of a way of beating this system.
Yeah.
And an electoral system can be beaten. It's not once in this country that we have heard people say, hata kama hatupati kura tutajaza. That statement did not come from a commoner.
Said we come from a county that knows how to manufacture presidents.
Yes. It did not come from a commoner. It came from people who are the blue-eyed boys of the regime of the day. And I'm not saying that we will lose election because we are not in the system. For us in opposition, we are sure that whatever the shenanigans that my brother has very big hope in, that just like the way Raila used to lose by being stolen from, they will also steal from us and get into government. It is not going to happen. What I am trying to say is that the people of Kenya are going to vote, and the vote shall be announced as they have been cast. Any attempt to rig an election will have dire consequences on the people who are attempting to rig this election. As for all Kalou, because I know I will not get another chance, I hope the best wins. I hope the systems work. I hope there will be no blame.
Can I get the mic on the gentleman?
So, as I wind up, I just want to say that let us not be victims all the time. Let us try to identify what has been the thing that my competitor has been taking advantage of. If you go to a football match and you realize that you are a slow player, you make sure that your shots are accurate so that you compensate for your sluggish pace to accurate passes. Otherwise, coming out of the football pitch and saying, this one took advantage of his sprint
is not going to make us listen to you.
Okay.
Kwa hayo na machache, safi na pesa. Na huyu alisema that it's a leaking arc. You know, that's treasonous. You know, this guy will come to a committee that I am to explain himself because I am going to be
going to be a senator. Let's go to Mr. in finishing, brother.
Yes.
He will be a CC in Kisii County.
Yeah, Jagero, this is my parting shot on this matter. I am not saying William Ruto will win because he will. No, I'm following his statement because it's like he has put it on me, and I don't have to even explain. So I am not saying he will win because he will rig elections.
Yes,
but I am also alive to the fact that elections have been rigged in this country before. These two statements will not be in the same content. Because if Joachim and other people who think alike believe that this election cannot be rigged, I'm not saying it will be, but if you believe it cannot be rigged, or election in Kenya is difficult to rig, then you're saying Raila lost all those elections. He was never winning. But if you, because how do those two marry each other? Because unless you are saying Raila lied, he was actually losing those elections, nobody rigged. Can you just listen the way we listened? Yes, I was listening to respond.
That is
why is this a dialogue if I didn't listen to respond?
If your last words were not good enough, shut up.
No. In a dialogue, you listen so that you can respond. Otherwise, why would we be in a dialogue?
Let's not have this.
Because I must respond. So these two must be marrying each other. Unless you're saying Raila lost those elections, election was never rigged. But if you believe he didn't lose some of those elections, they were rigged, then you are saying rigging is actually a possibility. But now, this is the question I would ask. We've seen the trends, the by-elections, about 5-6 of them in different parliamentary areas, spreading from coast to Nyanza to Western to Rift Valley. And we've seen the broad-based side of coalition winning them, and the other side does not win any. So if you go, for example, in the case of Mbere, this is in the middle of Murima. So you must tell me with some facts and evidence that those people, either William Ruto and UDA bulldozed that win by force, or those people actually voted UDA, walipenda UDA. Because those two cannot be in the same pot. So if you believe William Ruto rigged the election, I hope you are getting me, Jagero. Because this is a context. So if your context is election can never be rigged, then you are simply saying the people who you purport to say have left William Ruto are actually with William Ruto because they showed in the Mbere by-election. But if you believe election can be rigged, then you're simply saying Ruto and UDA rigged Mbere, and that means they can also rig these other elections that are coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much, people of the internet. Your last words?
You know, my point on the election has been taken by Joachim in the maana ya juu, and I need to correct this. That every effort has been made in this country to make sure our election is tamper-proof. That does not mean that the mischief of people have also been amended to make it tamper-proof. If you have your agents in every polling station, then your vote is protected. That is, but also we can't be blaming the referee for every lost match, even when you didn't score your goals. And my friend here said that you can't say Raila has never lost elections. The science by which Raila lost elections is known. That he got 100% of 65% turnout, when others are getting 80% of 100% turnout. Simple mathematics. So if you don't put your people, if you don't get your people, if people in Luo Nyanza were saying Raila atashinda hata hakuna system, tuko na hii kitu si lazima tupige kura, you can't add votes into that plastic thing. So all I'm saying is, instead, before saying that the referee is biased, and that we do in football all the time, funga bao zako mapema, have your ballots, have your votes where they should be. In Kalou, the person who has campaigned enough, incentivized his votes enough, and mobilized his people to go and vote will win. The person who is doing pressers and complaining that they are losing, they are right in their instincts. They lose. And that is, politics is a popularity contest. The popular candidate wins, the other one cries. And by the look of things, the crying one has started crying already.
Okay.
Let me remind you about the Chicken Gate scandal.
In finishing, 1 minute, right?
The Chicken Gate scandal involved a UK company that paid bribes to secure the contract for supply of ballot papers. That was in 2007, if I'm not wrong. In 2017 and in 2022, Venezuelan officials were caught in Kenya as they were trying to flee with election material. I hope you remember that. So when Mokaya tries to make a case for ballot papers, you remember Smartmatic comes from Venezuela, and they're the ones running the portal, the servers, and everything. Let me draw a parallel between the goons we see today and YK92 of 1992, which the sitting president was part of. This group commercialized politics. As you rightfully put it, they printed the 500 shillings, just so as to campaign. It was not necessary at any other period of time to print the 500 shillings. Lakini, kwa sababu ya campaign, wacha tutoi pesa. They dished cash, gifts, merchandise, and the specific things you see in Kalou. That was not campaign strategy. That was voter bribery. They misused public resources. They undermined a level playing field, and they practiced political patronage. The same thing you see in Kalou, that today a road that has not been constructed for 63 years can be constructed in a month. An hospital painting in a month. A hospital that has not seen staff infrastructure for 63 years now can be funded, can be staffed and fitted with modern infrastructure. And that goes for schools, the transformers that have installed at night after uprooting them from Bere North and so on. And that group was associated with political violence. We should never forget that. And that political violence is being meted today on the young people and the opposition leaders who are not in government for the risk of stating the obvious. So I am seeing a reincarnation of what happened in 1992. Today, I am having a deja vu moment, or this country is having a deja vu moment of what has happened in the past. Given that those that enable those foul play are in power today, I am not surprised. As for the elections and the credibility of the 2027 election, I need to remind the current IEBC Commission one particular ruling, or part of the ruling that was pronounced in 2017, and I will read verbatim, that an election can be invalidated when constitutional principles are seriously violated, even if the numerical outcome is constant. In simpler words, or in layman's language, an election can be cancelled, annulled, even if the numbers remain the same, even if you have proof that you won that election, and the numbers make a case for you. Tuseme William Ruto got 8 million votes. This is just an example. James Omolamba got got 15 million votes. So we could annul that election, even if the numbers show that I won that election, on the grounds that you violated the constitution and the constitutional principles were not adhered to. So I need to remind this commission that numbers alone are not enough. we will revisit that precedence. We will revisit that ruling. If it so happens that you decide to play your tomfoolery on us in 2027, because we can already see that you are preparing us for election rigging in 2027. That's my parting shot.
Thank you very much, people of the internet. It's been amazing. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Mr. Mokaya, thank you very much. This is the first time joining me here at Political Headache at 7:30. I think you've been here with in the morning. Yes, in the morning show. Mr. SG, thank you very much for joining me today. Mr. Mulamba, we were with you here yesterday, and now today you've joined me again. Thank you very much. And the gentleman fresh from the US, study propaganda.
Please be fair to him.
On a light note,
he has traveled a long way to be bantered.
What I don't understand is how we went into Ruto.
No, you see, the two of them know each other. He knows which side Joachim is, and Joachim knows which side my
people
friend
of the
is.
internet, until another episode, bye for now. All right, people of the internet, I hope that you're enjoying this episode very much. And I just had a break to tell you about my new book. Everybody says that there is no job, and that is true. Also, that was me 10 years ago. The problem is that everybody is trying to get a job in their town, in their city, in their marketplace. They ask friends for jobs, mothers call uncles, uncles call brothers, but there are no jobs. Let me tell you what no one is telling you. Jobs migrated online. What I actually mean is there are many, many jobs around the world, and there is no one to do them, except you. I work for Americans myself. I work for Europeans. I work for the Chinese. I work for the Australians. I work for the Canadians. And so, because I have done so much for myself, I said to myself, you know what? I should compile what I've been doing for the last 15 years. So in 2024, I wrote a digital book called Goldmine 18 Hustles for Africans. And then in 2025, AI came. People say AI is taking away our jobs. And for me, I'm going to say false. There are actually AI jobs. Jobs are not being taken by AI, but there are new jobs online that are there because of AI. Now, mimi ni nani? I created more jobs. And for now, in my new book, we have 25 online and offline jobs that you can leverage on if you do not have a job. So in this powerful volume 2, I share 25 new actionable online hustles specifically researched and tailored for Africans. My new book provides clear step-by-step guidance drawing from my extensive experience and research, including the mistakes I've made and lessons I've learned over the 15 years that I have worked online. So, what can you do online? You can become an executive assistant for busy folks in Europe, America, Canada, and get paid for tasks like watching videos and taking online surveys. Okay? You can build a lot of things. Build a business as a virtual assistant, start an e-commerce shop without capital, be an affiliate marketer, or you can also become actually an English tutor and tens of AI jobs. If you have a job, that is fine. But I also know that you can buy this book for that brother, for that sister, for that mother, for that cousin, for that husband who is watching Netflix all day at home. Buy it for your friend who is always asking for cash. You know that friend. Now, all the information is on the description below. You can also inbox me, you can WhatsApp me, or go to my website, which is odworjegero.co.ke.